Okay, what's up, guys? Game Fiend, Funeral Games here. It's once the time again for another episode of Drama Scripted Saturday, and we're just gonna hop into Raw. And the background is Road to Chairman Prescott match 61, and it's a very long match, which gives me a very long time to explain what happened on all three shows: Raw, SmackDown, and Impact. And let's just hop right into Raw. Raw opened with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman did most of the talking because Brock Lesnar can't talk for crap, as we all know. So basically, Heyman did a glorious rub down or rub on, I forgot what the proper term is, but for Brock Lesnar, and it worked. It did. He said that he made Triple H tap out, which he did, and with Triple H tapped out, he gave up on his best friend, he gave up on the WWE Universe, he gave up on the company, which all these things are true if you look at it from a storyline standpoint. And he also says that he declared Brock Lesnar as the new King of Kings. Can he really do that? Since Brock Lesnar did lose to John Cena in Extreme Rules, well, who's that to tell? But Brock Lesnar did beat the game Triple H. After that was a six-man match between R-Truth, Kofi Kingston, and Sin Cara versus Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, and Cody Rhodes. Why this match was made, I don't know. I just don't know. But the Sin Cara, Kofi Kingston, and R-Truth won that match. After that, it was Ryback versus the Two Stooges, which Ryback wound up winning due to disqualification because Jinder Mahal decided to get involved while Ryback was going to put him in his finisher, you know, put the two guys on his back and dump him. Jinder Mahal decides he wants to get involved and hits Ryback. Then they start fighting. Jinder Mahal puts him in the camel clutch. Ryback fights out of it with some move that looks like the stunner when he's on his back, and then Jinder Mahal rolls out the wing. That's how that segment ended. So yeah, then after that, the match was Brodus Clay versus Damien Sandow. See, alright, I enjoyed this match due to the fact that Damien Sandow won the match clean. He tried to go for the tights, but there's nothing to pull. So you can't say that he grabbed the tights, because he tried to grab, but there's really nothing to pull with the tights that Brodus Clay wears. As I don't know if that was a gunshot that went off my background or a firecracker, because that was very, very far away. It wasn't close. If it was close, I'd be able to tell. But yeah, moving on to back to Drama Scripted Saturday. They had Damien Sandow win the match, but then you have Brodus Clay attack him after he does his cartwheel, and then it's dance time with the Funkadactyls, but you're a face. Faces aren't supposed to be attacking people after they lost. They're just supposed to like just leave or continue getting beaten up by the heel. So you give Damien Sandow all this heat by having him beat a big popular face that's over with the crowd and the little kids. But then you just destroy all his credibility by having Brodus Clay just beat him up and then dance party time. So even when the heel wins, he still loses. Which I didn't agree with that. Up next was this dumb tag team match. Kane and Zack Ryder versus Daniel Bryan and Miz. And the Daniel Bryan officially gets the second most crowd reaction in all the WWE, with the yes, yes, yeses and him screaming back at them no, no, nos. This match ended in a no decision because what wound up happening was Daniel Bryan wound up hitting Kane and then running away, and then I forgot where the Miz went, and then Kane just killed Zack Ryder. So, which didn't make any sense at all. Divas Battle Royal to name number one contender. Just Caitlyn won. The only two divas that wasn't in there noticeably was Kelly Kelly and Beth Phoenix. I have no idea what WWE plans to do with those two since they were the only two divas that wasn't in the match. Dolph Ziggler versus Chris Jericho was the best match on the card, and Dolph Ziggler wound up winning, and there was a stipulation: if Dolph Ziggler loses, Chris Jericho wins his Money in the Bank contract. If Chris Jericho loses, he's fired. Chris Jericho wound up losing. The non-scripted side of that was Chris Jericho's going to go on tour again outside of US with his band Fozzy. So that's why they had to write that in so he could get released. He'll be back probably after the tour is over because it's Chris Jericho. That's how he is. Best match on the card. That was the best match on the card. How Raw ended with the John Cena and CM Punk. CM Punk was first confronting Jerry the King Lawler, talking about how it was false that he said he turned his back on the WWE Universe, which is kind of true. CM Punk never did turn his back on the WWE Universe. And in the middle of that, John Cena came and interrupted him. And, okay, CM Punk was like, okay, to get your title match, because AJ was like, yes, I will allow CM Punk to pick the number one contender if I approve for a Night of Champions. And CM Punk was like, John, the title match is yours as long as you just say that I'm the best in the world. And John Cena basically said, you can't do that. You have to beat me again in my hometown and Boston. And that's when you could say that you're the best in the world. Keeping in mind that CM Punk has already beaten this man 4 times. Now, why does he have to beat him again for a 5th time just so it could be in his hometown? Then he could be declared the best in the world. I have no idea. That's WWE booking for you. Doesn't make any sense that this man CM Punk has to beat this guy 5 times to make it equal 1. But like I said, that's WWE booking for you. And then Cena walked out, and then CM Punk put his focus back on Jerry the King Lawler. He ended up making Jerry King Lawler apologize, and then he asked, can you say that I'm the best in the world? Jerry the King Lawler says, no, I cannot say that. Then Jerry the King Lawler nudged him while he was going back to the announce table, and Punk just kicked him. And that's how Raw ended. That was your Raw. Moving on to the SmackDown. Last SmackDown was average. Can't pronounce lackluster for some reason. Oh, look at that. I just did. It was Ryback versus Jinder Mahal, which they really should have somehow built that up some more. They shouldn't have had it a match right then and there on SmackDown. They should have somehow carried that feud so it can make it to a pay-per-view, because that was a paper type like feud, but it wound up ending on SmackDown with Ryback winning. Match Layla versus Alicia Fox. Of course, Layla wins. Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler ended in disqualification because Dolph Ziggler took it upon himself to smack him with the briefcase. Kofi Kingston versus R-Truth versus Epico and Primo. Yeah, the tag champs haven't lost ever. Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio for the #1 contenders match. That was the best match on the card, with Alberto Del Rio winning clean. I like it when heels win clean, so I like that match. There was your SmackDown. Nothing fancy, nothing outrageous, with a lot of Raw recaps on the side. Now we get to the fun side of the show. That TNA Impact. Oh boy. As you know, it was open fight night. And so last week Sting says we're going to start open fight night next week with calling out aces and eights. And that's what the Stinger did. He came to the ring with Kurt Angle, Austin Aries, Bully Ray, Gunner of all people, which we haven't seen on TV in weeks, Jeff Hardy, Devon, Robbie E, Robbie T, AJ Styles, and the asshole. Then he calls out James Storm to come and join them. So as Sting calls them out, 2 of the aces and eights come out, and they beat the holy hell out of him. Kurt Angle OD'd so much that one of the aces and eights guys, his mouth was bleeding profusely. And he said that when he yoked him up and gave the aces and eights guy the mic and said, well, the rest of you is thank you, we've been patched in, and there's going to be a lot of hurt tonight. Which basically it sounds like that was probably their gang initiation. So they say, thank you, you patched us in. That's how I translated it. But moving on to the matches. The first match I think was the number one contenders match. Oh, excuse me. No, that wasn't the number one contender match. I apologize. It was the number one match, which was Brooke Tex-Moxer versus Tara. And Tara wound up winning, which was an okay for a knockouts match. Then we go to, since the Pope got his shoulder separated by aces and eights, went to a triple threat match between Rob Van Dam, Robbie E, and AJ Styles. This was the best match on the card. Sadly, Robbie E won. Let me explain how Robbie E won. RVD went to hit the 5-star frog splash on AJ Styles. He connected with it. Robbie E then rushes into the ring and pins Rob Van Dam, who always gets hurt of him doing his own finisher. Didn't pin AJ Styles. He pinned Rob Van Dam. And Robbie E wins, thus giving him 7 points. So now he has 12 points instead of 5. Yeah, that's how that match ended. It was the best match on the card, but the wrong man won. So, yeah. Moving on to the next thing. Jeff Hardy comes out. Out of all people, he calls out Robbie T. Random as hell. There's nothing between those two at all. So TNA was like, Jeff, just call out Robbie T. So he calls out Robbie T. Jeff Hardy wins. 3-minute match. And here we go to the Moby Porridge part of the show, which, let me break this down for you. Doesn't make any sense. Let me tell you why it doesn't make any sense. You cannot have a paternity test with the baby not being born yet. And Joey Chimmel, or whatever the announcer is on TNA, I'm not sure if I got it right, had the results of the paternity test. I'm going to say this one more time. He had the results of the paternity test in his hand. Called out AJ Styles. AJ Styles gave a brief speech or whatever saying, okay, points of saying, if it's my child, I'll take care of it. Keep in mind that Chimmel has the paternity test results in his hand. Christopher Daniels and Kaz come to the ring. They start talking. It was like, oh, you know, the half of it. Oh, you're the father. This is not the third. Then out of nowhere, another random character comes out of nowhere. See, you know, TNA has this thing with random characters coming out of nowhere, which I don't like. And this random lady happened to be Claire's lawyer. Now, let's just stop for one moment. You have a certain person named Joseph Parks who plays a lawyer. Wouldn't it be useful to use Joseph Parks in this situation? What is stopping you, TNA, from not paying another person and to give Joseph Parks this role of just saying, yeah, I'll be Claire Lix's lawyer or spokesperson, because that's what Joe Parker does. He represents people. He represents his clients. TNA, why not use Joe Parker? You just want to throw away more money? So yeah, but that's just, they should have just used Joe Parker. Anyway, this lady comes in and says January 2nd, which was right after Genesis, I believe, or around Genesis. She says I was approached. This is Claire Lynch's personnel speaking for Claire Lynch, because apparently she's in the hospital. That's what Christopher Daniels is saying. She goes, I was approached by Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels on January 2nd, 2012. And they offered me to be in a role to blackmail and sabotage the one AJ Styles. And I'm here to say that, one, I am not pregnant. And two, that AJ Styles is phenomenal and a good guy, because he did help me get off the drugs. And the whole everything is fake. Everything's a lie. So how in the blue hell can Chimmel have test results, paternity test results, from a kid that's not even real, from a chick that wasn't even pregnant? And something you cannot do to begin with. See how it doesn't make sense? How can Chimmel have paternity test results if she wasn't even pregnant to begin with, and thus you cannot have a paternity test for an unborn child yet? She has to be, the child has to come out the vagina or C-section through the stomach. TNA. Worst storyline since Katie Vick. Worst. Somebody in the comment section argue me that. You can't. You just can't. You just can't. Don't even try, because you can't. You will hurt your brain. And after that drama, we go to the, what's it called again? We have the rookies. I forgot what it's called, but the new guy's name was Chris Louis versus Gunner. Gunner winded up winning. So, and that other guy in the first promo was like, "I'm so hungry you can see my ribs." Yeah, that guy had a gut and was fat. I didn't see any ribs. But yeah, Gunner wins. And that guy, Chris Louis, was horrible. He was sloppy. He couldn't do moves right. His punches were sloppy. He should not get a contract. I'm sorry. He just shouldn't. The main event match. Cannon Anderson versus Bully Ray Dudley. Bully Ray Dudley has come a long way since his tag in with Devon. It's come a long way. Second best match on the card. Ken Anderson wound up winning, and now Ken Anderson has a total of 47 points. I would have rather have Bully Ray Dudley win, because he's just come such a long way with his character, building his character and building his heel mentality. Such a long way. Throughout the before I get to what happened at the end, another thing that happened at the end was Sting bumped into 3 aces and 8s, and he says, "Yeah, I like to play a card game. It's called 52 Pickup, and I also like this game." And while Ace was looking at Sting, Sting throws Hulk Hogan a bat, and Hulk Hogan in one swing hits all 3 of them, and they get knocked out. And then he started grunting like this, like, "Come on, Hogan, what the fuck was that for?" Excuse my language, but yeah, what was that for? That was uncalled for. And then he says, if you ever look at my daughter again, I'll rip your heart out and feed it to my dog. Hulk Hogan, what was the grunting for? It was uncalled for. It was just bad. And now we go to the last part that happened after the main event. So Sting comes out after the leader of the Aces. They said we'll be there in 3 minutes and so on and so seconds. So yeah, Sting comes out with the same people that he came out with for at the beginning of the show, besides Hogan and besides James Storm. Then 2 other Aces and Eights come out, and then 5 just start coming out, and then it's just hoopla, fighting everywhere. There's Aces and Eights fighting Sting, Storm, and Hogan backstage. There's Aces and Eights fighting Jeff Hardy, Austin Aries, and I forgot who else was in the ring. I forgot who else was left in the ring. I think it was Bully Ray in the ring. And then there's just fighting everywhere. This is non-stop Aces and Eights versus irrelevant TNA people action all over the arena, in the ring, backstage, in the locker room. Just full out blown randomness. Mashes keyboard and types keys just to explain the randomness. And then they somehow outnumber the 3 wrestlers that were in the ring. So it's like 8-on-5 in the ring. They take the barricade. They put Austin Aries' hand or arm over it. And the leader of the Aces and Eights smashes the chair down over Austin Aries' arm. And they appear like they may have broken his arm. Then they run back to outside. And they all get in their motorcycles. And they drive off into the darkness. And that is how TNA ended. Yes. TNA, once again, ending in complete, utter randomness. Funny thing is, TNA got a 1.26 rating, which is their first time they've been over a 1, I'm going to say, in 6 months. So apparently this random BS is working. I don't know why it's working, but it is working. Which it reminds me. This story reminds me a lot of the Nexus. The only difference is we knew who the Nexus were, because the locker, the people, the guys in the locker room coming together and banding together is the same thing that WWE did to stop the Nexus. But that's TNA. So yeah, let's go for the undrama scripted news, which Rey Mysterio briefly talks about retirement. In an interview with Star Journal, Rey Mysterio said that he feels like the main thing left he's accomplished in WWE is being inducted to the Hall of Fame. But that does not mean he's considering retirement. He goes, not at all. After his surgery, it kind of a setback to me. A year of trying to get my knee back in shape and recover. I have my limitations as far as what I can do in the ring, but I managed to be creative with my style. I think that is what keeps me still able to perform for my fans. As long as I keep doing that, I'm good to go. Rey Mysterio acknowledged his concussion he had at SummerSlam, sidelining him from weekend's house shows, and Rey Mysterio provided an update of his status. As of right now, I'm just waiting and taking other impact tests and finding more results. So that's gonna basically wrap it up for this week's Drama Scripted Saturday. Remember, there will always be a Drama Scripted Saturday every Saturday, so I can give you the news on this past week's Raw, SmackDown, and TNA Impact. Remember to leave your thoughts below on the past 3 shows, what you thought about it. Remember to like the video if you liked it, give it a dislike if you disliked it, and share if you care. And I'm Game Fifi Games, guys, and the next time you will probably see me is Monday for a Modern Monday. And I'm out of here, guys. Later. Peace.
Device! In your ugly maw! Incoming smoke! have need of this. Revive me! In your ugly maw. Incoming smoke! I am not your queen. You are nothing.
Black liquor. Oh. You talking about the candy man or something like that? Or the black chocolate? Oh yeah, that would be